Video on special considerations when coaching those who are 60 plus, or perhaps you are 60 plus and you're watching this to find out a little bit more about what you should be thinking about when you're keeping fit or trying to get fit over the age of 60. So why over the age of 60? Well, let's face it, over the age of 60, you're getting on a bit, things may be starting to creak, or maybe they've been creaking for some time, and you may have some health considerations that you just need to pay a bit of extra care and attention to when you're starting your health and well-being program. Now, it doesn't mean to say, certainly doesn't mean to say that you can't start getting fit. If you've never done anything in your life all through, and you're now 60 years of age or older, or even getting towards that age, then it doesn't mean to say that you can't start your health and wellbeing program. If you're watching this and you're somebody who's thinking they want to start, then you definitely want to make sure that you get some really good specialist help with somebody who understands what working with people over the age of 60 is like. Definitely wouldn't recommend going for kind of gym setting where you can just go in and use your equipment as you see fit, especially if you've never done it before. Okay, so first consideration when working with the over 60s is, are they on any medication, and have they actually got clearance from their doctor? So should have, when you join your exercise program, should have a medical form to fill out, and if there are any things on there that may be a concern, then just double check with your doctor. It doesn't mean you can't get started necessarily. It might mean you can't get started, but just double check with your doctor that doing exercise is not going to interrupt with your medication. Now, generally speaking, exercise and healthy eating and any kind of health and well-being program is only going to be a good thing, even if you are on medication for a particular ailment, be it cholesterol, high blood pressure, or something else. But get that clearance from the doctor. They know what you're doing, because as you start getting healthier and fitter, your medication may need to change, or there might just be some extra special considerations, like you can't necessarily go down onto the floor because and stand up too quickly because of the blood pressure. But your coach should know that anyway if you have a good coach. Okay, so medication clearance from the doctor is an absolute must. Technique is always important when you're exercising, but when you're over the age of 60s, you want to get the technique really spot on. Why? Because if you're doing something wrong, the chances of you getting injured are much higher. That goes for everybody, but particularly when you're maybe slightly frailer over the age of 60, and also don't have like the mobility and the strength and the flexibility that you used to have, then you need to get that technique right. So take it slow first. What we say here is you want to master that technique before you get the intensity, before the intensity starts getting greater. So don't just go straight into a really hard workout if your goal is to lose weight or get stronger. You've got to take it easy. Consistency is going to be key here with your progression in your health and well-being. A proper warm-up is absolutely essential. You can kind of get away with it when you're younger, but as you start getting a bit more senior in your years, you're going to notice that these things need to be warmed up properly. What does a proper warm-up look like? Well, you should have something to raise your cardio a little bit, get the blood pumping around your body, get the nutrients moving around your body, get the joints warmed up and lubricated. You'll probably want some gentle kind of but dynamic stretching. So that doesn't mean just like old school stretching like that you did at school, because that was 40-50 years ago for some of you lot. That stuff is old school. We don't do that anymore, because actually static stretching can increase the chances of you getting injured. So get a little bit more read up with what's the latest research, what actually works around proper warm-up. We want dynamic stretches, maybe some foam rolling in there when you've got a little niggle that you need addressing. If you've got a good coach, they should know what that is and they will help you with it. So do a little bit of research, make sure you spend 15-20 minutes doing a good proper warm-up. Intensity of exercise, as I said earlier, you don't want to jump straight into a high intensity exercise program. You're going to spend a lot of time getting the technique really good, and you're going to probably want to opt for lower intensity exercises At Which Wings Fitness, we always change the exercises based on who is in the class and what they're able to do, but just start with the easier exercises. Once you've built your confidence, then you're ready to go to the next point. If you're a coach and you trust in your coach, then and they're sort of gently pushing you, then you can listen to them. If they think you're ready, then you probably are, but you should feel ready as well. Okay, so really, really important that you take that slow. Okay, hydration and nutrition. Some of you over 60 lot, you really just don't drink water, do you? It's not a thing, but you really need to, because it hydrates your tissues, hydrates your joints, gets things lubricated. Wine, tea, coffee, we don't include any of that in our hydration. Liquid, it's just water, okay? But you will have massive, massive gains and easy wins if you address some really basic hydration and nutritional things. Again, when you learnt this stuff back at school, it was a long time ago. Things have changed. So look into some of the latest research on what is working, and you've got to consider your habits. Your habits are ingrained. They've been ingrained for a long time. So be aware of what your habits are, what your bad habits are, and how you need to address some of those bad habits, because you'll probably be surprised at some of the habits that you have. Okay, but you've got to address this part when you're sort of working on getting fit over the age of 60. Mobility and stability, really important. Again, got to consider if your joints are not as mobile and stable as they used to be. There are special exercises and things that you can do to improve your mobility and stability. So you might want to spend a bit more time working on that. Now, mobility and stability are different things. Mobility is, do I have full range of motion in my joint? And stability is, are they stable as I move myself through? So if I sit down on a chair, first of all, can I get into it? If I can't get into the chair, then that, without sort of flopping back, then that means I'm probably not mobile. But also, if my knees are really wobbly as I sit down into the chair, that actually means I'm not stable. So there's two things going on that you want to consider, a little bit more so when you're over 60. Strength is a consideration. Obviously, it kind of plays into that stability part. You might not be as strong as you once were. So again, take it easy when you start, but do include some strength training, specific strength training, low intensity, in your health and well-being plan, because that will really help you build up that strength that you're going to need just for day-to-day life. So there's a lot of crossovers in your training for this and day-to-day life. And then finally, keep moving outside of your exercise class. Like, try and add in extra exercise, because if you just do, say, 2 to 3 hours of exercise in a gym with a coach a week, but then outside of that you're just sat down a lot, then you're going to get stiff, you're going to get immobile. And so this is not about burning calories either. So this is about just keeping the blood flowing around your body and keeping the nutrients going around your body. Notice that there's actually nothing on here, even the nutrition part, about burning calories. Burning calories is a bit old school. Again, it's kind of, things have changed. There's still a lot of misdirection around calories and are they important, and actually the latest research says they're not important for fat loss. It's all a bit of a myth. It's very difficult to calculate and get it right. So you don't need to do calorie counting or anything like that. What you do need is your nutrition to be top quality. We have a lot of processed food these days. Probably when you were younger it wasn't such an issue, but now we have a lot of processed food, and there's a lot of chemicals, hidden chemicals, that causes stress in our body that you may not be aware of, but actually they're not a good thing. So think, like, if your grandma would eat it, and that was a long time ago, if you're over 60, then it's probably a good thing. If she wouldn't eat it now, that's not a good thing. You probably shouldn't be eating it either. That's kind of a good rule of thumb. All right, so I hope that video really helps, and if you need any help from us, then please get in touch. Cheers.